Well, good evening, good evening, good evening to all you wisdom walkers out there. This is Jojopahmaria and Saroma coming to you with my pre-show before I officially break into my podcast, multicast. Oh, wow. Here we are coming toward the end of March, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you. I have been a road runner for most of the month and just had some fantastic experiences reconnecting with my family that I hadn't seen in about 7 years in person. And I have a wonderful aunt who just turned 88 and got to spend time with her and my cousins, and also did some shaman in residence work with a dear colleague and fellow shaman, fellow light worker. And it was very fulfilling. And of course, I haven't traveled in so long. It's also tiring. So I was like, oh my God, did I really say I was going to do a broadcast today? But I did. I was good. Before I went off, I did some preparation because the second part of what I'm going to share with you is really important. And I didn't want to mess with that. So, anyway, but I hope you've been having a good March. You know, we've got the first of the two eclipses coming up. Tonight, it's like at, I think, midnight here in California, 3 a.m. out on the East Coast and beyond. And it'll be a wonderful time to have some stuff eclipsed from inside of us that is not supporting us in being in right relationship with ourselves and with others. So it's a good eclipse. Yeah. And this full moon is in the sign of Libra. So it should be very interesting. Yeah. Well, I hear that my broadcast introduction is coming to a close. So I'm going to stop my little banner here. See, I got a comment that just came in. Oh my goodness, it's Queen Amina. Yes. Thanking me for holding space for us. Yes. Thank you for holding space for me while I was absent. Gone, but never really gone, right? Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now I will begin this in earnest. Good evening and welcome to Wisdom Walk Talk here on Black Hole Radio and my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. I am your host and guide, Jojopahmaria and Saroma. And I always start off with first honoring the ancestors and ask you to think about those persons in your life who influenced you, impacted you for the good, the bad, or the ugly. But those that you want to connect with and want to learn from, be guided by, be connected to. Think about who that is this week or who they are, and definitely call out their names during the invocation. As always, I want to honor my two teachers, Malidoma and Sabonfu Some from Burkina Faso, land of the proud ancestors, and always so grateful to them for the wisdom that they shared with me and so many others, and for the amazing impact it has had on my life. So join me as we invoke the ancestors. Ancestors, Creator, Mother, Father, God, Source, all the one, all that is. May the ancestors hear our prayers. Ancestors, we call out to you during this closing month of the first quarter of 2024 and ask you to enable us to begin living our personal renaissance in earnest by remembering and enacting upon our higher purposes during this auspicious and landmark mineral year. Grant us access to our higher timeline where we know that what we are seeking is seeking us. Give us the strength and courage to continue to accept and embrace this new age and new earth consciousness. daring greatly to live out our new narratives and knowing that these are divinely scripted for ourselves and for our world. And most importantly, continue to enable us to move forth from the dark ages of modernity by placing our heads below our hearts, valuing people over profits, and always, always, always choosing love over fear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. Ashe, Aho, Asa, Shinga, Bismillah. And so it is. Ashe, Ashe. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome here to Wisdom Walk Talk. And, March is the first of 2 nature months in this landmark mineral year of 2024 that will support personal change from the inside out. 2024 is also the year of the dragon in Chinese astrology, considered one of the luckiest years for forward movement, both personally and professionally. And this aligns with the numerology of the year, the cosmic number 8, as it is associated with success, achievement, and abundance. My theme for 2024 is what you seek is seeking you. It's a Rumi quote. And the theme for March is move forward. And it's one of my 5 collective commitments that I'll be spilling on throughout the year. So thank you for joining me as I share my wisdom, insights, and guidance for personal and collective healing, growth, and heartful transformation into new earth beings. Ashe, ashe. But first, just as a reminder for when I'm broadcasting live, you can listen in if you have any problem, any disruption with your Wi-Fi or network. You can listen in through a phone number, and it is area code 563-999-3089. Again, that's 563-999-3089. I will be uploading a video of this broadcast for those of you listening in the podcast. It'll be out today, of course, to my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. And if you have any questions, you want to share some comments, the best way to do that is first through my Facebook page, which is Wisdom Walk Radio, or my Facebook group, Wisdom Walk Community, which you're very welcome to join. You can also go onto my website, www.wisdomwalktoselfmastery.com, or in the comments section below the YouTube video. But right now, I invite you to sit or lay back and join me for an exploration of the inner landscape where we can connect to our souls and remember and also discover the true truth of being human. Ashe, ashe. So, wow, again, here we are at the end of March, coming to the end of March. And for the first time in a while, I was actually in winter weather and very grateful that I had a good bubble jacket and hats and gloves. So I made it through. But it was a little strange. It was a little strange. I've like had my flip flops on since I've been back home. And usually this time of year, it's a little chilly here, but after being in like 40 degrees, 35 degrees, it's like, oh yeah, 60 degrees feels pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. So it's all relative, but it's just interesting, right? The shift. And I think I'm still coming back into Pacific time from East Coast time too. So I'm still like kind of in a little bit of a zone. But let me share with you my overview for tonight. And that is that I'm going to give you a women's history moment because I didn't get to do that the last time. And then I'm going to do a review of moving forward as spiritual development, a quick review. And then I'll focus on 7 ways to spiritualize your life. And of course, leave you with a personal growth opportunity that is a contemplative question and activities for you. My quote for the month comes from James Redfield, noted author of the Celestine Prophecy book series. And if you've not read that yet, help yourself out. It is still so relevant. And James says, I believe we grow most rapidly when we have a clear vision of how we move forward. As our lives develop, we must inspire toward our divine connection, meaningfully helping others and the world. However, spirituality can't be separated from how we treat our bodies and construct our lifestyles. Every aspect of our lives must be applied to the general spiritual theme of living more inspired life. Yes, yes, yes. Love that. Love that quote. So cool. And as you know, we are in a mineral year with a highlight on purpose, connecting to the souls of others, and also rewriting our narratives, rewriting whatever part of our lives is no longer working for us, or maybe it never worked for us. But this year, we really do get support in rewriting, getting to a different story, a new story, a higher timeline story in regards to who and what and where we are. Shay. My theme for the year, again, comes from Rumi. And you know, I love this picture of the higher timeline. What you seek is seeking you. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the theme for March has been move forward. But I have been talking about how usually when we talk about move forward, we immediately think about something physical, right? Or something that's in the third dimension. And I am talking about move forward more from an internal and a fourth and fifth dimensional perspective. Yeah. And so the last time, I'm sorry, let me just share this with you too about the energy of nature, which shows up, of course, in March, and then we'll have it again in August. But it gets this elemental energy of the earth in there as well, really powerfully. And so it's consciously experiencing yourself and your life from the inside out. New opportunities, people, and experiences will become more aligned to your authentic self, and you will have more challenges and adversities resolve more easily and effortlessly. Yeah, because that's so important when we can really be in the truth of who we are. That is really how we move forward. Yeah. So let me share with you a Women's History Month moment. And there were so many to choose from. I really just kind of said, okay, Spirit, give me who I need to talk about because there are just so many incredible, powerful women and women who aren't celebrities, just women who are raising their children appropriately. To me, that is totally something to be honored and looked at. And what came to me from Spirit was to share with you about Dr. Mabel Pingwa Lee. Now, she was born in Guangzhou, also called Canton, China, which is not far from Hong Kong, in 1896. When she was 4, her father moved to the United States to serve as a missionary. She remained in Hong Kong and lived with her mother and grandmother and learned English at a missionary school. And she won a scholarship. And the scholarship is what enabled her to get a US visa. And so that's how she and the family joined her father in New York City's Chinatown in 1905. She also attended Erasmus Hall Academy in Brooklyn, which was actually set up specifically to support immigrant children, because at that time, the United States was getting in a flood of immigrants into New York City, coming from Europe, coming from Russia, coming from China, coming from all over the world. And Erasmus Hall is still around, yeah, in Brooklyn. So by the time Mabel, who was just genius and smart and fantastic, and a big heart, by the time she was 16, she was known as a figure in New York's suffrage movement. This is about women advocating for voting rights, right? And in a parade that was held in 1912, she came on horseback leading the parade. And from its starting point in Greenwich Village, it says, and the New York Tribune, which was a big newspaper back then, wrote an article about her before the parade. And the article highlighted her academic accomplishments and her desire to improve the lives of women and girls. And she was also mentioned in the New York Times parade coverage. So she just kind of fell into celebrity very, very quick. Now, the other important thing about Dr. Lee is that she started her studies at Barnard College in 1912, so she was 16. And this was an all women's school that was founded because Columbia University refused to admit women. Yeah. So while she was there, Mabel joined the Chinese Students Association. She wrote feminist essays for the Chinese Students Monthly. She was involved in the suffrage movement throughout college. And her May 1914 essay, The Meaning of Women's Suffrage, argued that suffrage for women was necessary to a successful democracy. Yeah. So after graduating from Barnard College, she got a PhD in economics at Columbia University. She was the first Chinese woman to do so. And in 1921, she published her research as a book called The Economic History of China. Now, ever since high school, Mabel wanted to move back to China, start a girls' school. But after her father died in 1924, she took over his role as director of the First Chinese Baptist Church of New York City. She later founded the Chinese Christian Center, which served as a community center. It offered vocational and English classes, a health clinic, and a kindergarten. Dr. Lee never married, and she devoted her life to her Chinese community. Now, she died in 1966, and I couldn't find any information about the cause of death, but hopefully she died peacefully because she was just so powerful and she did such great work. And it's said, too, that we don't know if she ever became a U.S. citizen or if she ever voted in the U.S. Because at the time, when the women's suffrage movement was going on, fighting to get women to be able to vote, Chinese people weren't allowed to vote. There was some law that was, created that, yeah, okay, you all can be here, but you can't vote, just craziness, right? Welcome to American history. But anyway, Mabel was so powerful that the First Chinese Baptist Church is still standing, still offering social service of what she had initiated, and it still promotes civil rights for Chinese American. So what an incredible, incredible woman, up against so much sexism, racism, classism, and all of what she was able to achieve at a very, very challenging time in American history for every. I was just saying it was for everybody, but especially for people of color, for her to actually get a PhD from a college that hadn't allowed women to come in. It's just amazing. So I hope that you appreciate learning about Dr. Mabel Ping-Hua Lee. And if you want to read more about her, find out more about her, of course, you can Google her. She's very easy to find because she's pretty powerful. Yeah. So let's now move into a little bit of a review about how moving forward is about spiritual development, and that it's from that we then get to experience things in the 3D, in the third dimension in our lives, that are in alignment with the truth of who we are, because that's what we really, really want to make sure is happening. So, there's so much that has been around, in our existence as humans that tells us the truth about who we are. But during this dark age of modernity, we've kind of moved away from that. But I mentioned before about Abraham Maslow, the great psychologist, who developed this hierarchy of need. You know, what is it that humans need in order to be fulfilled, to happy, healthy, in balance? And most people understand food, shelter, clothing piece, but he goes up the ladder to self actualization, which is where you like yourself unconditionally, you love yourself, you feel good about yourself, you accept yourself. But the piece that to me is the most important, and it doesn't get included enough in that hierarchy, is about spiritual intelligence. That's at the top of human developmental process for being healthy, loving, contributing, fulfilled, happy endings, all that. Yeah. And again, we just kind of leave that out. But the work we're doing now in this age of Aquarius with this new earth is to not leave it out. And so to be able to move forward, to really be able to move forward in this new age, in this new world, you have got to embrace your spiritual intelligence and remember not just who you are, but what you are, which I'm going to reshare again. So, number one, you are a manifestation of divine source, born full with gifts, talents, and genius. You are a divinely created being. You are enough. You are supposed to be here. There is work for you to do, there is purpose for you to fulfill. You are a soul with divine purpose. You're in possession of a sacred contract. It's not a little thing. The way in which our world works, I believe, is based on sacred contracts. This is what keeps things moving and flowing. And it's important for us to know that that is a part of what you are. You're in possession of that sacred contract. And then, last but not least, you are a light for the world. Your soul can heal the world. Just like Dr. Ping, Lee, Dr. Lee, Mabel Pingwa Lee, she basically was just doing, what she was called to do. And she healed so much. She achieved so much. And yeah, all of us have that ability. So just really wanting to drive that home, so that as I talk about spiritualizing your life, you understand that you're doing it from this level of awareness about what you really are. Yeah. Hey, there's Carmen checking in from AZ. Hey, Carmen. Good to have you here. And she's also highlighting about spiritual intelligence. Absolutely. We so need that on this planet and right now. Absolutely. Oh, I just left out, shame on me, the fifth what you are, which is that you are an eternal being with no beginning and no ending. You are not disposable. Absolutely. Forgive me for leaving that out. I was jumping ahead with my little slides here. So again, this is so important for us to know and remember, because there's something, there is something that is going on, and we are evolving to a new level. So it's really important that we have this foundational understanding of who we are internally, who we are spiritually, who we are eternally, so that we don't get sidetracked and think that we're not that. Last broadcast, I talked about what blocks our spiritual development. But tonight, I want to focus on how you can spiritualize your life, which is an important part of our spiritual development. And I had posted that I was going to have 6 ways, but I was like, no, I gotta have the number 7. So I'm going to share 7 ways with you that you can spiritualize your life. And again, what does spiritualize mean? It's basically that you are choosing to stay fully conscious about what you really are. Yeah. And so you're taking on doing things from that level of consciousness. So as I shared these, it will make good sense to you. And I'll tell you, I shared these back in 2022, in September of 2022, because it's this important. And I'll probably be sharing them again, maybe another 6 months, just to keep us on point. So here's the first one. I suggest strongly that you take time to get still and connect with your God daily, not just when you are in trouble. Yeah, to know that we can, on a daily basis, stop, pause, and take time to connect. And sometimes it could be through some music, sometimes it could be through um, being out in nature, seeing a beautiful flower, talking to the birds. You know, there's many, many ways to do that. The thing here is just to know and set your intention for, I'm going to connect with my God on a daily basis. Number two, create a sacred space in your home and work environment that is designed to remind you of what you are. And I think this is something that we naturally like to do, you know, put up pictures or things that of our family, something that keeps us company. And I think now more than ever, people are placing spiritual objects into their home and into the work environment. And so this may be just a reminder for some of you, but it really makes a difference. And it doesn't have to be much. It doesn't have to be much. It's just about creating that sacred space, whether it's just a little space on a tabletop or a little table into itself or a corner, or you have something hanging, whatever. Just create a sacred space. Absolutely. And, you know, the word sacred means it's really associated with mystery, that this is a spot that I'm going to keep open so that I can learn from the mystery that is God. Yeah. So I can learn from the mystery that is God, a greater order and direction. Absolutely. Number three, set a time to hold those you love as sacred by texting loving memes or photos. For example, set the clock for a daily prayer and or a good morning or a good night or any loving gesture. Also, putting a child to bed and reading them a story is also a sacred gesture. Yeah. So again, doing these things very, very consciously is a way. I have a practice that I do with some members of my family where at a specific time every day we stop and share prayers, family prayer, and just pray for our family, pray for each other. And it really makes a difference. It absolutely makes a difference. Number four, establish your Sabbath, one day a week or one day a month when you focus only on your God and being in service to the light. Some of you, if you're connected to a church or a synagogue or a temple or a mosque, you have established a Sabbath. But for those of you that may not be with a formal institution of religion, just know that you can do that for yourself. What is your Sabbath day? What is your day when you're going to focus only on your greater order and direction and being in service to the light? And yes, for some of us, things are so crazy. It's like, I can't do that for a whole day. So set aside some specific time. For example, when I am preparing and doing my multicast, I do it on a Sunday because to me, this is sacred work. This is being in service to the light. So you may already have something that you're doing, but just haven't realized that it is a sacred thing. And now you can say that, do that, have that. It's so important. And it makes you feel so good. I can't tell you enough. Number five, Honor your ancestors by creating an ancestor plate before eating your meal and thank them for their non-physical support. This is an old ancient practice, but again, it works so well. And this is about taking a little sample of every food item on your plate, putting it on a smaller plate or a little dish. Um, and you can light a candle if you want, or not. But the thing is that you're making a gesture, a faith gesture, and giving them this food in a energetic way, which they love. And if you got any gin or a white liquor around, they like that too. Give them that in a little shot glass. But again, this is a way for us to remember that we can't figure all of this out on our own. We need all the help we can get. And the ancestors are there waiting, willing, and ready to be a support to us. Absolutely. Yes. Number 6, share a weekly or monthly meal with family, friends, and those you love. Yes. And thanks to Zoom, this now can be done with those who are at a distance. Yeah. And I'm sure you've probably been on a phone call or something where you're eating, maybe the other person's eating, you're talking about food, it's the same thing. But you just do it again from that sacred space of, I am connecting with a greater order and directing. I'm connecting with my higher timeline. And I'm stepping into this energy of love. And that's what makes it spiritual. That's what makes it spiritual. And again, if you can do this in person, it's of course even better. And make sure you pause, do a gratitude prayer over the meal before you eat. All of that are ways to make it sacred and spiritualize. Yeah. And then last but not least, take a moment every night and or morning to express gratitude for what you are, what you have, and what you desire. Yeah. Yeah. And that is, coming out of the practice of saying your prayers every night. My mom always had us get on our knees. And I always observed my mother getting on her knees to say her prayers every night. Yeah. And again, it's a way to be humble. It's a way to surrender to a greater order and direction. And it's a way to really give ourselves again that opportunity to connect with something beyond our knowing and to do it from a loving way, to do it with gratitude. Absolutely. And I got a comment here from Miss Carmen Ray saying, yes, this is sacred work. Absolutely. Absolutely. So to continue this, here's my personal growth opportunity for you. Moving forward, spiritualize your life. When we aspire to the best version of ourselves, we are truly going after living from this higher consciousness of what we truly are, divine, all of those wonderful things I said. So I'm asking you to come up with 7 of your own ways of spiritualizing your life. Remember, this is about demonstrating reverence for yourself, your life, and others. You'll be amazed at the blessings that show up as a result of remembering what you are by practicing, doing, and being a spiritually intelligent human being. Ashe. Ashe. Wonderful. So I hope that makes sense to you. It's helpful to you because I never teach about something that I myself haven't done. And I can tell you it makes all the world to me, all the difference to me, to be able to have these spiritual practices in my life. And to know that these anchor me, they anchor me to what I really am, so that when that gets challenged, as it will, because we're human, I have a way of finding a way to find my way back to the truth of who I am. Absolutely. So I desire the same for each and every one of you. We always need to have a way back home. So here's my Miss Sarah quote for the month. Sarah says, life always supports us in where we prefer to be. Life always supports us in whatever changes we prefer to make. Absolutely. I miss her dearly. What a huge light she was in this world. So we have come to the close of my March live multicast. And as always, I want to shout out to my wonderful engineer, Miss Yvette Parker, and the entire Black Hole Radio Be Well family. Also acknowledging and sending prayers to you for your Ramadan season, which is still going on. And thank you again for taking time to make sure I have platform to do this sacred work that I am called to do. Ashe. Also want to shout out to all my regular listeners out there and to all of you who have wisdom walk with me or going to be wisdom walking with me, and to my family on both coasts. It was again so wonderful to visit my East Coast family for the first time in so many years. To my spiritual kin everywhere, my transformational leadership colleagues, my medicine brothers and sisters around the world, and those who may be listening or watching for the first time, thank you. Big thank you. I couldn't do this without your willingness to listen and watch. And thank you, thank you, thank you for supporting me in doing this work by showing up and commenting and leaving me lovely feedback, all that good, wonderful stuff. Thank you so much. Now, I will be getting out some astrology for self-mastery video for you. We do tonight have that eclipse that I mentioned. The next big one will be on April the 8th. So, but I do want to get out the astrology for March, and I will do that by Thursday at the latest. Yeah. I also probably will get out the April elemental wisdom for the month of April. I'll probably get that out for you. We're going into a mineral month and a mineral year. It's always exciting. Yes, yes, yes. And this broadcast I did tonight will be repeated next Sunday, March 31st, which is also Easter. So happy Easter to those of you who acknowledge that, practice that. I certainly do. Getting ready to come off my Lenten goal and be resurrected. Woohoo! Now, my next live multicast will be on Sunday, April the 7th. Same bat time, same bat channel, 5 p.m. Pacific. And I'll be spilling on the fourth collective commitment for 2024, which is live on purpose. Woohoo! Love it. As always, I want to just promote my book for a minute, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery, still available through Amazon, Kindle, Walmart, A's Books, and other online booksellers. Also want to give a shout out to my dear friend Juanita Roberson and Amy Houghton for their book, The Underground Railroad, 40-day journey to remembering soul and spirit that uses the Dagara medicine wheel so beautifully. Also available through Amazon, Kindle, and other online booksellers. And another shout out to Queen Reverend Adara, her Heart for Healing service. It's open on Zoom for free. It's on first and third Wednesday of every month, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And you can go to our website, spiritismylife.com, click under events to get access to the link. And last but not least, I want to thank my God, my ancestors, my spirit guides, loving entities, everything that walks with me, keeps my head to the sky, my feet to the ground, and my heart open to do this important and sacred work for all of you. Please have a healthy and safe Earth Week starting tomorrow, receiving support to spiritualize your life. Maybe you're initiating that or you're growing that. Also, continue to wear your mask. When I traveled, I made sure I had my mask on. So I'm feeling good. I don't have any problem yet. And or strengthen that immune system. Practice safe relating. Wash your hands frequently. Avoid perceived safety. Honor science safety. And most importantly, as what we talked about tonight, please, please remember that you are not disposable. You know why? hmm Because you are divine. Good night now.